Well, a former Formula One racing driver is looking at how he might help solve the problem of feeding a growing global population. Pedro Diniz has been successfully experimenting with organic production methods in Brazil. His farm, called Fazenda da Toca, has become one of the country's leading producers of eggs, dairy and fruit. Ryntjes sat down with Pedro and asked him if organic is only for the wealthy.
I don't believe on that paradigm because I can see there's a friend of mine. There is a property closer to where Fazenda da Toca is. It's my property. It's even bigger property. He has 20,000 hectares of sugarcane plantation. That's organic sugarcane. And his production on his organic sugarcane plantation is higher than a conventional sugarcane plantation. So that proves that you can produce organically in a large scale. You can have a lot of productivity producing organically. So from now on, organics is very, very expensive still because there is not so much of production of organic. When it's becoming bigger and bigger and going mainstream, production costs are gonna be even lower, and then the logistics, we're gonna be more prepared to it, and then it's gonna be more accessible.
Here in the US, there are some major agro companies that have gone down the route of genetically modified seeds, pesticides, fertilizers, bulk agricultural products, and they believe that's the way to feed the growing demographic bulge that we're going to see in the next few years.
The problem with this of the conventional system is that it's actually affecting a lot of biodiversity on our planet, and that's a big problem. We are probably getting into the 6th max extinction in our planet right now. Without biodiversity, we humans cannot live on this planet, and these conventional systems, it actually kills a lot of biodiversity because of all the chemicals and destroying the forest. We have to have a different system, a system that is productive, that can give food to everybody, together with nature, not fighting with nature.
And do you think that you can start to communicate to some of the countries that are experiencing these population bulges, namely places like China, India, and all the countries in Africa that now want to find ways to encourage young people to go back to the farms and draw them out of the cities?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's really necessary to have the young guys back to the land and farming. And farming, in my experience, can be very fun. I'm very happy to be in the farm. I'm becoming in love with doing farming, especially because the way we farm, creating life, not destroying life, that really for me gives a lot of pleasure.
But everyone is now attracted to technology, into the urban style of living. But agriculture itself is not something that just stays in the past.
Not really. I think there's no whole new concept of urban farming also, that it makes even food production even closer to the big centers. So there's things that you cannot produce so locally. For example, meat you cannot produce inside of a town, but lettuce you can produce in a town very close it. So why not? So the whole system has to be rethinked. I strongly believe that we can create life by producing food.
And my last question is this. You went from a career in which split-second decisions could be the difference between winning and losing, between life and death. And yet farming is all about months, maybe years of patient work. How did you make that switch?
Yeah, that was a challenge at the beginning for me, because more this immediately way of thinking and having results. But I understand that really to do a good farming, you really have to have a rhythm, like in racing. To win a race, you have to have a good rhythm and constant. So to do a good farming, you have to have a rhythm and constant and know what you're doing to be successful, and similar to racing.